My name is Joshua Jennifer Espinoza, and this poem is entitled Things Haunt. California is a desert, and I am a woman inside it. The road ahead bends sideways, and I lurch within myself. I'm full of ugly feelings, awful thoughts, bad dreams of doom, and so much love left unspoken. Is Mercury in retrograde, someone asks? Someone answers, no, it's something else like that, though. Something else like that. That should be my name. When you ask me, am I really a woman, a human being, a coherent identity? I'll say no, I'm something else like that, though. A true citizen of planet Earth closes their eyes and says what they are before the mirror. A good person gives and asks for nothing in return. I give and I ask for only one thing. Hear me, hear me, hear me, hear me, hear me. Hear me. Bear the weight of my voice and don't forget. Things haunt. Things exist long after they are killed.
Oh, I do enjoy an evening with a little light entertainment. But when your video heads get dirty, you lose your picture.
I'm in. I can't say I ain't pretty and my legs are thin. But don't ask me what I think of you. I might not get the answer that you want me to. Well, oh well. Now when I talked to God, I knew he'd understand. He said, stick me and I'll be your guiding hand. But don't ask me what I think of you. I might not get the answer that you want me to. Yeah. Oh, well. dead rock and rollers. They were out of controllers.
Speaking of dead ones, we got a Sandy Denny song coming up.
Todos me dicen el negro, llorona, negro pero cariñoso. Todos me dicen el negro, llorona, negro pero...
Former Redlands resident Joan Baez sang a song about La Llorona on her 1974 Spanish-language album Gracias a la Vida. Aguamansa Road in Colton is perhaps the most haunted stretch of land in the Inland Empire. It is along this road that many have claimed to have seen La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. In an October 26, 2006 article entitled La Llorona Haunts Lonely Stretch of Road, a San Bernardino Sun staff writer attempted to make sense of the story. She wrote, "Legend has it her name was Maria, and she was a poor yet beautiful woman who attracted the affections of a son of a wealthy rancher from the southern plains. The two eloped and had several children. And then the story goes, he left her. One day as she walked her children by the river, her husband rode by with a wealthy woman beside him. He stopped to speak to his children, but completely ignored Maria. Maria flew into a jealous rage and flung her young children into the river, where they drowned. Realizing what she had done, she ran to the side of the river to try and save them, but it was too late. Now she spends eternity searching waterways and crying out for her lost children." On a rainy day in 1975, Inland Empire hypnotist Baron von Brenner traveled to Aguamansa Cemetery in Colton, attempting to contact Maria. Sun Telegram staff writer Jimmy Johnson covered the ghost hunt. Von Brenner should be familiar to regular viewers of Tales from the IE, for in the early 1960s he appeared at Tommy Sandy's Club Sahara in San Bernardino. With the help of Bloomington clairvoyant Shirley Moreno, they attempted to contact the spirit of Maria. Under hypnosis, Shirley said, "There is a woman here. She is wearing something over her head, and I can't see her face. She's dressed in a big long dress and shawl. She is looking for her children. She is aware she is living in another dimension and admits people have seen her on occasion." At that point, the drizzle turned into a downpour, and the Baron put a stop to the interdimensional communication. He said, "That's all we will get today." As a bolt of lightning lit up the sky, Shirley the clairvoyant wondered out loud, "I wonder if it was La Llorona." Returning to the 2010 article, the reporter also spoke with local residents who had a story or two to tell about La Llorona. Her penance was that she wouldn't go to heaven until she found her kids, said Mary Gaumont, who was born and raised in Colton. The 67-year-old Gaumont grew up in a home on L Street, will never forget the sound that awoke her one May night about 57 years ago. I don't know what time it was. It was the screeching voice that was real loud. It was a sound that kind of penetrates into your body, Gaumont said. I heard it 3 times, and all the dogs in the neighborhood started barking. I remember that I got goosebumps all over my body and a cold sweat. The next morning, Gaumont's mother told her that it was the cry of La Llorona. Gaumont recalled whatever she heard, it wasn't human. Teresa Buenrostro, 75, recalls hearing all the stories of La Llorona and her haunting of Agua Mansa Road and the Agua Mansa Cemetery, San Bernardino County's oldest cemetery. She had been told not to look in the rearview mirror when driving down the road. La Llorona was said to appear. Edmund Gomez, the pastor of the Immaculate Conception and San Salvador Catholic Churches in Colton, said several times a year he hears church members' accounts of La Llorona's appearances. Gomez said the ghost of La Llorona is something in the spirit world, which is a different reality in itself, he said. Is it possible to see spirits? As Christians, we would say no. If we do wind up seeing a spirit, it's not so much a figment of the imagination, but the presence of evil and someone enslaved in evil. La Llorona would be this because she murdered her kids, which would be infanticide, and killed herself, and that would be suicide. She would be a lost soul. Socorro and Delia Rosales are two of the few Agua Mansa Road residents. I've lived here for over 55 years, but we haven't seen or heard anything, Delia said. She said that she and her husband were warned when they first moved to their home that the road was haunted by La Llorona. She said she understands that the road is dark and dangerous, but it doesn't mean that it is haunted. In the 55 years that they have lived in the home on Agua Mansa Road, no trick-or-treaters have ever come by to get candy. When we first moved here, we bought all this candy during Halloween, but nobody came by, Delia said. I guess they were scared or something. Historians say that the tale of La Llorona has been told in Mexico since at least the 1500s. With both live-action and animated movies still being produced today about her, not to forget numerous books, there's no indication that the story is going away soon.
excel. I can open the gates to heaven or hell. Cast aside the flesh of thee, cast aside and set you free. Oh, oh, death. Oh, oh, death. Won't you spare me over till another year? Oh, oh, death. Oh, oh, death. Can't you spare lock their jaws so they can't talk, stiffen their legs so they can't walk, close their eyes so they can't see the chill you feel. It comes from me. Oh, oh, death. Oh, oh, death. Can't you spare me over till another year? Oh, oh, death. Oh, oh, death. Can't you spare me over till another year? Mama, mama, come to my bed and place a damn cloth on my head. My eyes are aching, I cannot see. I feel the sheet pulling over me. Oh, oh, death. Oh, oh, death. Can't you spare me over till another year? Oh, oh, death. Oh, oh, death. Can't you spare me over till another year?
I can leave this world. It's not my problem anymore.
Welcome, Lisa and Bob, to Lo-Fi Lounge. First, I want to thank you for playing at Feisty. That was a really fun day.
Was
It
amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How was your most recent tour?
The one we did over the summer was.
There was the mini one though before that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay.
So he's talking about the one there's one we did in May that.
Yeah, well, you just to dip your toe.
Oh yeah. The
Three countries in 3 days.
That was a blast. Actually, that was like, this is the way touring should be.
It was exhausting to drive 3 countries in 3 days, but it was really nice to be done. As soon as you hear of a band going on the road, never think that they're just, even if they're a drunk, never think that they're not working to drink.
Right.
Because it's literally 24/7 work. So you add on top of that, you add also having to booking and paying what you pay for a ticket and then not knowing if you're actually going to be allowed to fly.
How long is your new tour then?
It's just under 3 weeks, I think.
Just under 3 weeks.
It's like 18, 19 days, something like that.
Half of what we did in the summer.
Right.
All right. And how many countries in the 3 weeks?
4.
4. Oh,
France,
well, if I knew you guys were just going to
Belgium,
slouch.
Netherlands, UK. I know.
Yeah.
Any new material?
Revisiting old versions of or older songs with newer versions. I
Right.
think.
Part of the process is just as a band, as a performance group, what thought goes into, to the arc of a set.
For a while, we've had like a core part of the set that works really well. We love doing it and everything. And then so we sort of work around that and incorporate the other things into it. And it's
because we're not like the Stones. We don't have hits.
Yeah.
That people are going to be like, oh, you have to play this song.
Right.
But there are songs that we think, oh, well, if we want to say, oh, this embodies the BellRays, the songs that we would usually kind of say, oh, yeah, that he's fallen to that category. Right. Just doing live events was getting harder and harder to do. Everybody was experiencing that where you just don't get paid the right amount to offset the cost of some of the expenses that you go through.
It's just getting pinched from all sides all the time.
All the time.
Airfares go up, gas goes up, tolls go up. The encroachment of suburban stuff and pushing clubs to the brink or actually out of business because noise complaints or
the arts have always been under attack. The actual thing is under fire. The actual thing is disappearing. The actual thing is we're a national treasure as far as I'm concerned.
Live venues and stuff for music, especially rock music or pop or whatever, live music, that's the proving ground for it. That's why you keep seeing these, hearing about how music is just getting dumber and dumber and more simplified and everything sounds the same and all this stuff. It's because that there's less places for bands to go out and compete against each other and learn from each other and
do it live.
Yeah,
just do the thing live, because there's one thing of getting a radio hit and there's another thing of actually having to be on the road and huff it before you ever get the hit, which is how you make bands like the Beatles, which is how you make these songsters. This is it's more than just the money.
It's something deeper. It's something deeper. There's the great documentary on Creedence Clearwater,
like Royal Albert Hall thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, they were still making hits. Don't get me wrong. They were still making hit songs, but then he comes back from being in the service with a whole new point of view or focus.
Yeah.
I was just able to, after having been a band for 10 years,
right?
Been a band before that, and then to just say, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it, and these are the songs I'm going to write.
There's just gravity or power to these performances, in their simplicity at one level. It just directness. There's a directness in that music that it fits that story. So, okay, well, we were a band, but now we're a band. Now we're a national treasure.
Yeah, and the thing I realized, or I kind of recognized watching that thing, is like, that they did every single thing that is on all of their albums on that stage. Like, I never really realized it before how their albums are, they were recording in an age when you could do things with, the Beatles and the Stones and all these people, the Who, they were doing all these complicated, innovative studio things. Yeah. Using synthesizers, doing all this stuff. Creedence wasn't doing that. They were just up on they were just in the studio playing the songs, and then they get on stage. It's just like they swap out the studio for the stage and they play the songs, and the honesty about that, is just a really cool thing, because Basic Do It is the thing,
Yes.
It's like you can go to a museum and see some Van Gogh painting or whatever, but sitting there and watching him paint it, but it's a
There's
different thing.
skin in the game.
Yeah.
Like just the whole idea of there being skin in the game it makes it dangerous. It makes it brilliant.
A band like us, I don't think we've ever played the same thing twice ever.
Yeah.
You know, and not out of a conscious effort.
No.
More
It's
often
style.
than not. But
The style. It's the style.
yeah. It's just the way it is. But
It's the risk of performing. If you're recording an album, if you didn't hit that note, you can sing it again.
right.
You could play that note again, but you can't when it's live. And that expression or that risk that bands take to play live and put themselves out there, I think.
Yeah, the risk. There has to be that part.
The band didn't, put all their product on a truck and put it in a store so you could walk in and buy it. The live band drove to play the music for you. And then you guys came and drove out to the venue. It's a cool meeting up there. It's a cool meeting up of, let's have fun together kind of a thing,
Better do this together.
Well, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Bob. We'll if I don't see you before, I will see you after.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Great idea.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks, my friend.
It's the battle of the mini monsters. Introducing Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera, Dracula, and Creature from the Black Lagoon.
The monsters with glow-in-the-dark features.
Frankenstein is in a foul temper. Dracula flies in, fangs bared. Creature surfaces, dripping with rage. Phantom shows his fiendish face. I can't look. Is he ugly? The monster battle rages on. It's a howl.
The monsters with glow-in-the-dark features, each sold separately from REMCo.
Welcome back to my shelf for our special Halloween edition of the lounge. I have 3 entries for you. So let's start with Weird Women, shall we? This is a wonderful anthology by Lisa Martin and Leslie Klinger. And it came out a few years back. It's called Weird Women, classic supernatural fiction by groundbreaking female writers, 1852 to 1923. And it really is a well-organized anthology because you have some familiar writers there, but most of them are folks who have been forgotten, languishing in the shadows. But there's crazy stories in here of supernatural events and mad scientists and werewolves. And if you like, Gothic fiction, you're really going to like this book, and you'll be so glad to know that it was so successful that there's a volume 2 that's come out also. So this is a good place to start. Weird Women from Lisa Martin and Leslie Klinger. Next, you can never overlook Val Lewton. He was a wonderful producer who sort of saved RKO's hide when Citizen Kane tanks in the 40s. His film, The Cat People, made his very, very low budget film, had such a great look and was so successful that they moved him up into this executive producer status and gave him titles for films, and he would create these moody pieces that are way more than just typical B-movie fare. And he would have great directors, like Robert Wise, some other really great people who worked with him. But the stamp, the overall feel of these films is always touched by Val Lewton. What Martin Scorsese does in Martin Scorsese presents Val Lewton, The Man in the Shadows, is sort of a overview of all his really great films. The Cat People, The Seventh Curse, The Leopard Man, The Body Snatchers, Bedlam. These are really, really great films, each one of them. And so you get a little touch of this dark magic that was Val Lewton, and it would be a really good thing to track down. Any of his films will be great, but this is a good preview and overview of a unique American producer. Last but not least, no Halloween is complete without The Great Pumpkin with Charlie Brown. The reason this resonates with folks my age, I think, is this. When I was a kid, Halloween was a great windy, dark night with clumps of kids without your parents. And it wasn't so that you could go out and, tear up the neighborhood. It was just sort of a night of freedom. And I remember in Colton, it was a big deal for me that me and my friends crossed Rancho, Boulevard, went beyond Rancho. And it was a big step forward in childhood to being a little bit older, feeling a little bit older. What's always unique about Charlie Brown and his gang is that you never see the parents. All their stories are with kids alone, and they have to solve their own problems. And even though it's, really funny, and I love the whole Snoopy thing when he's, moving through in France, during the war, and Lucy bites the apple and Snoopy's connected to it. There's all these wonderful little moments in the film, but what I always like the most is just seeing that clump of kids moving through space and time, through their lives. There's some spooky sounds out there against this really beautiful dark blue sky. And it reminds me of a place in time. It reminds me of being a kid and feeling free. Let's do this again. To finish off the show, let's hear the performance of a Chris LeRoy, Johnny Hickman song called Haunted, performed by Johnny, myself on bass, and on drums, Chad Villarreal. Enjoy.
Haunted house.